done? What came over me? Who am I?
Those were Sally Field's own words as she looked back at the choices, struggles, and betrayals that shaped her Hollywood journey. At 78 years old, she has nothing left to prove. 2 Oscars, decades of unforgettable roles, and the admiration of millions. But behind the applause and acclaim lies another story, one that reveals the sting of betrayal, the bruises left by toxic co-stars, and the names she never forgot. For the first time, we uncover the actor Sally Field hated the most, and the stories that turned her career into a battlefield. You might think you know Hollywood, but this list will change everything. Burt Reynolds. The heartbreaker on the surface, Burt Reynolds and Sally Field looked like the perfect match. They were the glamorous couple of the late 70s, turning Smokey and the Bandit into box office gold and becoming tabloid darlings. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, charming, playful, irresistible. But behind the curtain, the truth was much darker. Sally would later describe Reynolds as controlling, a man who thrived on dominance and dismissed anyone who threatened his spotlight, even her. He mocked her intelligence, belittled her looks, and made cutting remarks about her acting ability. In interviews, he'd smile for the cameras, offering backhanded compliments, only to return home to silence or subtle jabs. In her memoir In Pieces, she revealed how Reynolds interrupted her mid-sentence, dismissed her decisions, and treated her as if she were nothing more than an accessory to his stardom. Sally said she felt like a possession, something to be displayed but never truly seen. One moment he was charming and affectionate, the next he withheld affection as punishment. The manipulation wore her down until she admitted, "I never felt truly seen. I was there, but not me, not the full me." To the public, he was the bandit. To Sally, he was heartbreak in disguise, and as painful as that was, he was only the beginning. Tommy Lee Jones, the ice wall. If Reynolds broke her heart, Tommy Lee Jones froze her out completely. On the set of Back Roads, Sally came in with high hopes. It was a gritty, character-driven story, a chance to create something meaningful. But instead of collaboration, she was met with silence. From day one, Tommy Lee Jones made it clear he wanted nothing to do with her. He refused small talk, offered no warmth, and treated her as if she were beneath him. Rehearsals were cold. Takes were colder. He hit his marks, spoke his lines, and walked off. For an actress who thrived on emotional authenticity, Jones's behavior was devastating. Sally tried to bridge the gap, cracking light-hearted jokes, asking questions about their characters, trying to connect. But Jones barely looked at her. Critics would later pan the film for its lack of chemistry between the leads. What they didn't know was that the real problem wasn't on the page, it was the frost between the actors. "We were supposed to play two broken people learning to love," Sally admitted. "But I was playing alone." After Backroads, she never worked with Jones again. The experience left her drained, a reminder that sometimes the cruelest thing isn't anger, it's indifference. Robert Blake, the scene stealer. If Jones was cold, Robert Blake was chaos. While filming Say Goodbye, Maggie Cole, Sally found herself trapped on a set with one of the most volatile personalities she'd ever encountered. Known for his erratic mood swings and intense method acting, Blake didn't just act unpredictably on screen, he carried it into every corner of production. He would change lines without warning, sabotage takes with improvised outbursts, and lash out at crew members over minor issues. What might have looked like creativity to some was, to Sally, pure sabotage. The tension poisoned the set, turning what should have been an exciting project into a nightmare. The film eventually collapsed before it even aired, a casualty of dysfunction. For Sally, it was more than a professional disappointment. It was a trauma. She later reflected, "There are actors who act, and there are actors who try to make everyone else small so they can feel big." Blake was the second kind. The chaos of that experience left scars. She walked away with a vow. Never again would she tolerate disorder disguised as brilliance. Shirley MacLaine, the bitter rival. Not all of Sally's clashes were with men. On Steel Magnolias, she shared the screen with Shirley MacLaine, and what audiences saw as a heartwarming story of resilience and love was, behind the scenes, a battlefield of egos. Sally threw herself into her role with emotional honesty, channeling the grief and vulnerability the story demanded. But MacLaine seemed more interested in stealing the spotlight. She bragged about her awards, dismissed direction, and even undermined emotional scenes with sarcastic quips. One particularly raw scene took 17 takes, not because Sally couldn't deliver, but because Shirley kept interrupting with off-script jokes that derailed the moment. Sally smiled through gritted teeth, but later admitted the constant undermining left her exhausted. Years afterward, she described Shirley as a cloud of chaos. The clash wasn't just about style, it was about ego. Sally wanted to serve the story. Shirley wanted to dominate the room. The tension was so thick that even while audiences cried at Sally's performance, she knew the real pain had been happening off camera. Dustin Hoffman. The humiliation. The final name on Sally's list is perhaps the most surprising. Dustin Hoffman, hailed as a legend, left her not inspired, but humiliated. In the early 1980s, they nearly worked together on a film that never made it past development. During a chemistry read, Hoffman dominated the room, cracking jokes, mocking lines, and interrupting her performance. Sally wasn't just critiqued, she was demeaned. She later learned Hoffman bragged about sabotaging the audition, telling others the chemistry wasn't there because he had made sure of it. For Sally, it wasn't just unprofessional, it was cruel. She described the experience as one of the most humiliating moments of her career. That day changed her. She vowed never again to work with men who mistook arrogance for genius. And she kept that promise. Sally Field's career has been filled with triumphs, but her path was scarred by heartbreak, indifference, chaos, rivalry, manipulation, and humiliation. Burt Reynolds, Tommy Lee Jones, Robert Blake, Shirley MacLaine, Dustin Hoffman. Each left their mark, not just on her career, but on her soul. And yet through it all, Sally endured. She transformed her pain into art, her betrayals into performances that still move audiences today. Behind every standing ovation was a woman who had fought battles the public never saw. You might think you know Hollywood, but behind the glitter and gold, there are scars that never fade. And Sally Field, after decades of silence, has finally revealed them. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's hidden stories, make sure to like this video and subscribe. More shocking exposés and untold truths about the stars you thought you knew are on the way. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's next.